Are we
Okay,
ready for the intro?
I think so.
We
Okay.
are ready.
Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. All right, so we just finished watching the 2021, I think. Lamb was the name of the movie. It was a wild ride, so we're going to dive into it. But first, I'll tell you what it is. So basically, it takes place in rural Iceland, and it's about a childless couple. They're a farm couple, and a strange baby is born on their sheep farm, and they decide to raise this baby. We'll call it this baby, and and as their own. But there's sinister forces that are keeping them from raising this child and trying to take the child back from where she came from. And that's what the movie is about.
It's a pretty good summary, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid. Like, I did not love this movie.
Yeah, this was something else, this movie.
It's like I didn't know what to expect, and it still wasn't what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we talk about how we found this movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
This movie was on some reel on Instagram that came into our feed where someone was saying these are horror movies that absolutely disturbed me. And they listed them. And so based off of those, there was a few that they listed, and this was in there. So that's kind of how we found this movie.
Right.
Because we were thinking, let's do something different.
Yeah.
So
and it sure was.
Yeah.
Do you feel disturbed?
I do feel a little disturbed. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
See, I would not categorize this as horror.
No.
At all.
No.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Maybe psychological.
Maybe.
I would classify it as beautiful, boring, and slightly disturbing.
Yeah, like an art house.
It's art house for sure. Yeah, it's art house, and it's a drama, really.
It is.
Like I have a bone to pick with whoever selects genres for movies, because everywhere you look, like if you just Google the movie, it says horror fantasy. And if you open it on like IMDb or whatever, it's horror, whatever. Its description is that this is a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No.
I don't know where they came up with that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's an eerie type of movie, but
it is.
Yeah, definitely not horror. So
it was unsettling.
It was unsettling.
Like it left me feeling like nervous for what was going to happen, but not like in a scary kind of way.
Yeah. I think for me, I actually really liked chapter 1 of the movie, because at the very beginning, I mean, I didn't watch anything before, so I didn't see the trailer. I didn't read even the description or anything. I just, put the movie in, press play, and went into it. And I mean, it has the making of something spooky, right?
Yes.
You're in Iceland. It's isolated. It's misty outside, right? Like the setting is spooky.
Yes.
I know that there's at least one lamb involved and probably multiple sheep. So at the beginning, it sets it up to be spooky. Yeah. It was ominous, right? At the beginning, it was like something's about to happen. I'm scared for what's coming next. What's going to happen to these animals? Like, I think I was more afraid of what my imagination had come up with.
Yes.
Same.
But then once they got to the end of chapter 1, I kind of just realized that nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I just I don't know, it felt really long. I got a little bit bored. I had to kind of pause and check how much time was left.
We had to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So
because we were like, nothing has happened.
Yes.
And we're like, the movie is almost over, and I don't feel like, yes, other than the baby being born, nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Well, so I even documented it was almost 10 minutes into the movie before a single word was uttered, other than on the radio they said like Merry Christmas Reykjavik or whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, it took almost 10 minutes before any words were said.
Yeah.
So and I agree. I feel like, so this movie has 3 chapters. But even before chapter 1, the very beginning, it starts out, there's wind. It just, I felt cold watching it, and you hear this grunting. So that, I'm like you, where I was imagining, well, what's going on? What is this monster? What's going to happen? And I felt scared despite nothing happened. They're just showing these like scenes of a farm and a tractor pulling things and like people walking. And I'm like freaking out because it was scaring me, but then it was a letdown.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, no, they set it up so perfectly. And I feel like I saw people describe this as a slow burn. Like a slow burn leads to something.
This led to nothing. I mean, I guess
it was just slow to me.
I guess it led to something, but
I can't
melt.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump in then. So chapter 1 is just about, like, to sum it up, I think it's just this couple on their sheep farm in Iceland.
Yep.
And they're just living their life, doing their thing.
And life is not good, right? They do get that across, where they don't, I mean, we mentioned like they don't talk.
Right.
And it's like they seem to not talk because they're unhappy. Something's wrong. Like they only talk about the farm, right? I think their only conversation is like just small talk, and then talking about how successful the farm is or stuff like that. Like that's all they really say.
Yeah, they seem almost a little bit like zombie, like they're just going through the motions. They're, just getting through.
Totally.
I would say like the most expression of either joy or fear or anything you see is on the faces of the sheep.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Sheep faces are creepy. I mean, they're cute, but they're also like oddly human.
They are oddly human.
Yeah. And so, the couple is just kind of like going through the motions, but like the sheep are animated, but in a really scary way.
The one shot, I kind of forgot where this is. I think it may have been at the beginning, like chapter 1-ish. The one shot of it where it's just zooms into the sheep breathing. Yes. Where you can see like the hair on the neck opening and coming close. That was so good.
That was so good.
Again, the animals crushed it.
The animals were the winners.
No, I loved the cat as well. Like, I don't know how they trained this cat or what they did, but that cat just seemed to be so judgmental.
I know. I loved him.
Everything that happened, the cat was there just looking like, what are you guys doing?
I loved him.
And the dog was like the only thing that made me happy in the movie. Like, so good.
Yep.
So they have this sheep farm, and they show these really graphic births of lambs.
Yep. And that was that was real, by the way.
It seemed very real.
I mean, I was thinking it had to have been.
You can't really fake it. Yeah.
So you're seeing
which to me, I can't handle stuff like that.
I know.
That's absolutely just personal preference.
Right.
I cannot watch it. I don't want to see it. I don't like that it was real. Like it was just, I don't like watching animals give birth.
So it's not a miracle to you. It's disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But then the little sheep babies. Oh,
the babies are adorable though.
Yeah.
I will give them that.
So one sheep is giving birth, and like, I don't know, they just pay a little bit more attention to this one. Like the woman, Maria, she is she's kind of like, poking around at the sheep, and then it gives birth, and you see, like, you hear the lamb, or you hear the sheep. No. Yes, you hear the lamb come out. I was getting confused on which is which. But then you see Maria and Ingvar,
I think, yeah.
looking down at it with this like horrified and concerned face. And I just like had this facial expression watching the movie. I'm just like, oh God, like, what is it? What's wrong with it?
I thought it died. I mean, because again, I didn't see anything about this movie. So like I thought like it was gonna be like a dead or like super deformed or something. That was
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like an alien. Like
initially I thought like deformed, like yeah. But yeah, then you see the mom, Maria, you see her walking away
with the baby.
The lamb with the baby.
Like wrapped up.
Wrapped up. And then you see them like putting the lamb in a crib. They're sleeping with it in their room. And there's one scene where Maria and Ingvar are asleep, and then she kind of wakes up and she's just looking at the lamb with this kind of like adoring face. And I knew I had actually not seen what this movie would turn into, but I was like, oh my God, I know what it is.
Yeah.
So I'll wait until we reveal to say, but I suspected it.
I still did not.
Yeah, I didn't expect that necessarily. I mean, I thought it was weird that they were clearly treating it, because we had seen another lamb be born and we saw them tag it, right? Like tag their ear and clip it and clip the other one. So clearly this one was different.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there was another scene where Ingvar was standing in the barn overlooking all of the sheep, and he's just refilling their water. But something about the way that he was standing over, I was like, something is creeping me out about this.
Yeah.
And that led me to a wrong conclusion. I thought maybe Ingvar was responsible for the deformity we end up seeing.
Okay, no, because we have to talk about this. And like, why didn't they talk about it? Because as soon as it's revealed, I think we can say it, right?
At this point, say, who wants to say? Brianna, I think you need to.
All right. The lamb is half lamb, half human baby.
Yeah, so it's like a lamb
like it's a lamb head
and arm,
shoulder and arm.
Yeah, shoulder, arm.
And then the bottom half of its body is a human baby.
So like thought number one, there's a human involved in the making.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Ingvar made a baby.
Yes.
With this mama sheep, and it's coming out like a centaur.
Is that not what happened?
Reverse centaur or something.
No.
I don't think so.
No, that's not what happened.
No?
No. I think it's the character we meet at the very end of the movie who's responsible.
Oh, okay.
For the lamb.
Okay.
But absolutely. First thought is, well, I've only seen one man in this movie, so like someone had to do this, right?
Yeah.
But like Ingvar and Maria, they didn't even
talk about it.
Well, so then I was thinking, okay, they've been trying for babies, they can't have babies, and so they maybe made this agreement because all of their sheep have babies successfully. So maybe even it was Maria's idea to be like, look, hon, I can't have a baby myself. Just go sexy time with the sheeps, and what happens, and I'll raise it as my own.
You think that would be a plan? And that's why I didn't talk about it? That's a horrible plan.
That's a horrible plan.
It's a win for everyone except the sheep.
I thought like problems in the marriage. Clearly something was up. I mean, we'll meet Peter later. Clearly there's some history there with Peter and Maria. Like maybe infidelity may or may not have happened in the past. Like unhappy marriage. There's like no one else on the farm, so he, went to the sheep, was what I thought. But they don't talk about it.
No, they don't.
It's just not addressed.
Yeah.
Well, they don't talk about like, hey, like earlier they were talking about how time travel like may be possible or something. Scientists thought that, but like they didn't they didn't think like, hey, like, you know, like what would the scientists think about this?
Right.
Well, that's kind of why I thought they were bringing that up, to say like, hey, there's this theoretically possible but scientifically impossible phenomenon of time travel. But they're saying now it's going to work. So our efforts to have half human, half lamb baby may work after all.
Oh.
But they just never talk about it.
No.
And which goes to another, you know, complaint I have about this movie, which is that we get no depth into the characters.
No.
Like at all.
I agree.
It's all kind of flat.
Surface level.
Yeah,
Yes.
all surface level stuff.
Very.
And then, I mean, I talked about it earlier, but like, why was Peter there? Like his character.
I don't know.
Like what
just
purpose
to cause
did he serve?
Tension, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
so Peter shows up, I
tension?
think, Peter shows up in chapter 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we just move on to chapter 2 at this point?
I mean, yeah, because I think chapter 1, that's the reveal, and then
but
it cuts,
before
right?
we do, let's talk about what we're sipping on, because we're going to need it to get through the rest of this synopsis.
Yes.
So, Yvette, you chose our drink tonight. What are we sipping on?
Okay, so I think all of us kind of try to keep an eye out to see what they're drinking in the movie, to see if, you know, there's something we could pull from. And the only thing I saw them drink was coffee out of a Stanley or out of a thermos. I feel like that's all they had while they were there. So I just went to Stanley, like the Stanley Thermos website, to see if they had any cocktail recommendations. And one of them was just to combine coffee and a black porter. You can honestly do like whatever ratio you want. You can do it hot. You can do it iced. And I tried it. I tried both. The hot was actually solid. I was worried that it would taste bad because that sounds weird. Hot coffee.
Yeah.
But it actually tastes pretty good.
Ooh.
And then I made myself an iced one for while we're recording now. I put just like a little bit of coffee creamer in it. It is really good. I thought it was going to be dark or like heavy or something. Somehow it's like actually kind of light and fresh and just kind of like an iced coffee.
Nice.
This is you know, for anyone who works from home, or, you know, you do you. I feel like this is the perfect 3 p.m. drink.
Yes.
You know, when you're like, you want that, you know, something else in the afternoon, and like work is feeling easy today. Make yourself one of these. It's amazing.
Nice.
I like it.
So yeah, no, I'm a big fan of this.
I mean, I love the coffee flavored beers anyway. So it makes sense that would be a good combo.
Yeah.
I am a grandma, and I cannot have caffeine past 4 p.m. if I would like to sleep. So I am passing, and I am drinking a wine from one of our earlier episodes.
Nice. Yeah, you do get a little caffeine boost. So careful in the afternoon.
That seems like a breakfast beverage, like a brunch. That'd be so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to chapter 2. So now they're just a happy little family raising this little baby.
And so her name is Ada.
She's so cute.
She's so stinking cute.
She is adorable. I wrote, because I split my thoughts into just good and bad. And good, I was like, okay, Ada is adorable. Thank you for letting me see her in a sweater. Because the sweaters are in her little overall.
With her little baby belly and her lamb face and little arm.
I know. She's super cute.
It's so cute.
Yes.
So cute. So my husband and I will not be having children. But after this movie was over, I asked him, I said, I've changed my mind. I want one only if it's half lamb.
Yes.
I was like, I want a half lamb, half human baby.
Yes.
But that's what I want. Can we please get one? And he said no.
Oh, well, that's
fair.
Thing is how it ended, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the moral of this movie may have been, you know, to not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So really not a lot happens, but some things do. There's some tense moments. Peter comes, the brother.
Which was so random because they're just showing the you know, couple with their kid.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they there's just this car full of people that just pulls up and they like kick some dude out. And I was like, who are these people?
Of the
like
trunk, I think.
Yeah, it was so weird how they dropped him off. I don't get it. I think they were just trying to get past it. Like, this guy's kind of like a loser. Like, he doesn't have his life together, so he has
right. I think that was the point.
Yeah. But it was just weird. And there's
there's some tense moments at first, because at first he's like super not cool with this kid, and like we just see him take Ada out with a shotgun, and it's like, holy shit, he's gonna kill her, he's gonna put her down, like
and
which it's there, like, but he doesn't,
and he seems, at least at the beginning, like, clearly he's an ass, like, that's right. They make that very clear. But also, first of all, they introduce Otto, no warning. They're like, all right, Peter, do you want some spaghetti? Just at the table. No, silence. Calls her over, and he just is like, okay, yeah, like, no warning. I guess this is a thing that's happening. And I think finally at one point, I think he says, like, what is this?
Right.
Like, what are you guys doing? Like, what is that? Like, for a second, he's like the only rational person.
Right.
In the movie. And also, he seems like a straightforward person. Why did Peter not question the creation?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
We had another opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did this baby come to be? Because we should also say, so at this point, I don't know how long has passed, but because I don't know if the baby is growing at a rate of a human baby or at a rate of a lamb.
Yeah, because lambs grow quick, like really quickly, right?
Right. So at this
maybe
point,
it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, maybe.
At least months.
Yeah.
Right?
Because she's walking around, she's wearing her cute little outfits. So she has one human hand, one lamb hand. She goes and she gets the plates for her family, and she can't speak because she has a lamb's head, but she makes little like cute little sounds, and she can like point with her little lamb paw.
Right.
So yeah, she's just like walking around like it's no big deal, and Peter's like, what the hell?
So he doesn't take the lamb out, and in fact he ends up bonding with her.
Yes.
He like falls asleep with her, and it's very cute, and now they're friends. And they're pals.
We should say, though, on the night of Peter's arrival, I forget if the mom had the dream before or after this incident. I think she had it maybe after. But at one point, the mom has this dream where this was, I thought, one of the only scary parts of the movie, where it was like she sees all of these sheep and they've got these like creepy glowing eyes.
That was so creepy. Yes.
So I don't know if that was before or after. What happened was, so Ada's actual mother, the sheep, was totally grieving the loss of her baby.
Yes.
Like looking for her, and she like busts out of the barn and goes to the family's home, which is, just next door, but like goes to their window, and she's just crying and calling out for her baby. Like, so sad.
And then at one point she did get in.
She got in. Oh yeah, she got in.
Maria was away, and Ingvar was like not paying attention. Like, you think he went to like a shed or something. And she just wants to take her, I mean, I'm assuming home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because they end up finding them just in the middle of a field.
Oh, and well, actually, so that's how we first discover the truth about Ada, was that because before then, all we see her is wrapped up in a blanket.
Yes.
But then her
that's
sheep,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her sheep mom takes her out into a field because that's where a lamb should be. And so they're just chilling out in the field. And then the parents, Maria and Ingvar, go to get her. And like, you see one of the parents pick her up, and it's this lamb head. Then you just see this like little baby butt.
Oh my God. It was the fattest baby I've ever seen.
Fat baby.
It was a chunky baby.
It's a large child.
It was adorable. It was a chunky baby.
Yeah. So,
but it was, did she get a name? Ada's mom? I don't think so,
I
right?
don't think so.
But as they're taking her away, she's like chasing and like buying at them, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" It was sad.
It was so sad.
Yeah. And Maria like yells, right? Just go
Yeah.
away. Like I think she just
Stay
screams
away.
at her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't believe we forgot to talk about that. But yeah, did you want to talk about what happens on the night of Peter's arrival?
So Sheep Mom is crying, and then Maria just decides enough is enough. And she gets, I don't think it's a regular gun. I think it's like an air gun.
Yeah. It's the quietest gun I've ever heard.
Which there's some movie, it's like some Quentin Tarantino movie or something, where there's like this killer that like gets people with like an air gun like in the middle of their forehead. So there's no bullets. It's just such a compressed, fast thing of air that like that's like,
or like an airsoft kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she takes Mama Sheep out and she shoots her.
Yep.
Right in the head.
And then buries her.
And then buries her, which then I was thinking at the very beginning of the movie, you see them eating lamb.
Yeah.
For dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, why not eat the mom? But also, did they stop eating lamb once their daughter was born? I
see. Yeah, there was a lot. And like even the art in the house, like herding the sheep, like maybe take that down.
Yeah, right.
Just
like
thought,
might do some damage.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, just a thought, 2 cents.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And just the way she like after she shoots her, that she's just like dragging her body by the horns to the burial site. It was so upsetting.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Okay, and then let's see what else.
Well, Peter sees it, I think.
Oh yeah, so Peter saw that. That's why I was thinking.
Yeah. Because I think he was hiding behind a garage or something. I think we were led to assume that he saw everything.
Right.
Yeah. Because at one point he even asks Maria, he's like, when are you going to tell Ada that you killed her mom?
Yeah. Yeah. When he was hitting on her, he's like, hey, let's, hook up. And she's like, no. And he's like, so anyway, how does it feel killing your new daughter's mom?
And like blackmailing, it's like he was almost like blackmailing her into hooking up with him. It was super gross.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was really gross.
So that all happens, I think, in chapter 3.
So chapter 2, I think not much really happens other than that. The
mom
bath
dies.
Bath time?
Bath time.
Yeah.
You do see bath time.
They take a bath together. Peter watches it.
Yeah, like Peter's watching and like they're just, I don't know, just it creeped me out. The mom taking the bath.
It's creepy.
With Ada, it was just, then they're like splashing and it's cute. It would be cute, but like it's weird.
It's so weird. And we see them making a flower crown in a field at some point.
So it's mostly, chapter 2 is mostly just their life. And we see that Peter struggles, like we mentioned before, with taking Ada out. He doesn't. They have a bond. And that's really all chapter 2 is.
Yeah. And do we see Ingvar and Maria kind of get happier, right?
In this like it's chapter, like the whole clearly family things is
better for them.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And then so we're just seeing beautiful scenery like that. I loved that part of this movie. It was just all beautiful scenery.
No, I mean, that the scenery was beautiful. Iceland is just a beautiful place. So it was
on my list.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, we're seeing cute little lamb. Like at one point, Ada does this little dance and I just like died of cuteness. Like she's just so cute.
It's so cute.
So then we get to chapter 3.
Yep. And we see the chapter 3 opens up with the graveyard.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maria takes Ada to the graveyard to show her tomb. There's multiple like plots, but the one where you see like the tombstone, which is like a cross or something, the name on it is Ada.
Right.
Yeah. So she just like didn't even think of a new name.
Right.
Like, so it's showing clearly like she's had children that have died.
Yeah.
But then she just like keeps naming them Ada, like what, Ada 1, Ada 2.
Right. Like,
I know.
Yeah. Like that is because
there's something very disturbing about that.
Now I'm trying to think, did they like ever directly show that they had a kid in the
No.
past?
No, so
But
it could have been a stillborn, it could have been a miscarriage. We don't really know.
I mean, I think it was, pretty obvious though. I think the moment that he took out the crib, it was, they had a crib already on hand. And they had clothes. Like, why would they have children's clothes on hand?
Right, exactly.
Okay, I was trying to remember if they said it at any point.
Yep.
Oh, and I forgot. I was going to look this up before we talked about it. But at one point, the dad is reading a story to Ada.
Oh, yeah.
The Dimalimalim.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's such a cute story.
It's so fun. Yeah.
They watched some sport game. Oh, so I guess I will say, was that what it was?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell what it was. So, okay, handball.
Yeah. I think it's big in Iceland, and I think they have kind of a shockingly good team for a country of that size.
Okay.
So apparently handball is just cute, because I looked up, because when I think they first showed their reactions and then quickly showed the TV. I assumed they were watching like soccer or something.
Right.
So yeah, no, I had to look it up. It's handball, which is kind of like soccer, but with your hands, because it's a team. You throw the ball and then you're trying to get it into a goal, and there is a goalkeeper. So,
like,
I
feel like it almost kind of feels like if soccer and basketball, were combined.
Yeah.
But so this is the one night. So for most of the movie, they are not drinking,
right?
Other than coffee out of the Stanley cups. But this is the one night they do show them drinking red wine, whiskey, beer.
Yeah, they did the full
everything.
The full cycle. Yeah,
they just get trashed.
Yep.
And they watch the so after handball, they they're all mad because their team lost, I'm assuming, right? And they're trying to like turn things around, so they turn on Peter's music video. I actually think it was really funny.
It was
amazing.
It's like weird little music video, and he goes and he like remembers all of the steps and everything. He's like singing along. They're having fun.
They're sipping a lot.
Oh yeah, they're dancing, and
Ingvar is especially drunk.
Oh yeah,
he's the drunkest of them all. Yep.
So he goes and passes out.
Yep.
And then he gets he tells Ada like, "Oh, Ada, come sleep next to me." And so like she and her dad are just snuggling, sleeping, taking a nap or sleeping.
Now, while they were still like dancing and having fun at some point, is this when we see the dog?
Yes. So they're all inside having a good time. And meanwhile, we should say the dog, like animals always know.
Absolutely.
We've said this before.
100%.
The dog would always like bark when like the sheep was about to go into labor or when something was wrong. And the dog knew something was up. And so the dog was outside while everyone else was inside.
And Ada went outside as well. Remember, she like, I think, I forget exactly when it was, if it was like after the handball match or at some point, it's just her and the dog outside.
Right. And then the dog goes off into the grass.
Yep.
And dies.
Something
we don't see it happen, so we don't know what happens, but something gets him. And he dies. And then I don't know did Ada see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she sees it. We don't see it. She sees it. She sees what happens, and then she goes inside and looks in the mirror.
Oh, okay, that's right.
This is what I look like.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And then she's like seeing the pictures that her parents have in the house of like herding sheep, and she's like I think she's starting to realize like this isn't natural. Like this is
right.
Yeah. Like what am I?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
And then she goes and lays down with her dad.
Yeah.
And that's when Peter hits on Maria. And she locks him in the cupboard, like in the pantry or whatever.
Because like he's basically trying to like blackmail her, like, hey, sleep with me or I'm going to tell your daughter that you killed her mom. And at first, I thought she was going to do it.
Yeah, I do too.
Same. Yeah.
But she just pretends that she's going to sleep with them, to make out with them, to like
lock him
get his guard down and then push him into the the cupboard.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Totally.
And at this point, she's like, okay, Peter's visit is done. Like, we're done. I don't know how long she waits.
I think just the next morning.
Is it the next morning? Yeah. And then she gets the car ready. She gets some cash and she's like, all right, Peter, like, we're done.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Drives him to the bus stop.
Takes him to the bus stop.
Yep.
And he's out.
Yeah. Like, that's it. Well,
Okay,
while she's driving. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. While she's driving, Ingvar and Ada are just having the cutest day. Like, it starts out, they're eating a meal, and Ada's just sitting there holding the purring cat. And I just it was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
The cat on her lap was so
I know.
cute.
This is what made me want a lamb baby.
Like, my cats would accept it.
Yes. Then they're like fishing or wandering the farm, and they're doing all these cute things.
Mm-hmm. And then their tractor breaks down, or did they go get the broken down tractor? Either way, they're out and not able to quickly get home.
Yeah,
so they're walking, right? And then
yes,
and then we meet the final character, right? Is that
am I
remembering this correctly?
It's what I wrote down was giant sheep man.
Yeah.
It's
Ram
like
man.
if Satan was a lamb.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It kind of the same thing where it's just the head of like a big, like an adult ram, right? Big horns, body of a man.
But this one has like more like fur all over, like light fur, but like two hands. Whereas, because Ada only has one human hand, this guy has two human hands. We know this because he uses them because he just shoots Ingvar.
Yes. Which, like, quick question though, like, you're in like a really big field. Mm-hmm. Why didn't he see him coming?
I know. I don't know.
Yes,
like you didn't see like a giant ram man with a gun coming towards you.
Maybe he was like crawling on all fours first, like in the
army crawling, getting through,
and then popped up.
True.
I don't know.
He could have been sneaky.
Well, and you know what? We do have evidence that he was sneaky before, because technically we did see him already. When Peter first came to the farm, we got a flash, like this was before he even said hello to like Maria and Ingvar.
Yeah.
When he was in the barn, we got this flash of what it looked like Ada, because it was like a sheep head and human body. But thinking back on it, no, that was this ram man. He was like in the barn, because it was just this quick flash. You couldn't even really tell what it was, and then it was gone.
Oh, I didn't think it was. Yeah, I thought it was Ada. Like, I thought that's what was happening.
Yeah. No, I think it was Ram Man.
So anyway, Ingvar is definitely dead and dying,
and the sheep man takes Ada with him, and they leave.
Not before she just starts crying.
Yeah.
Like, it was so sad.
It was really.
It was so sad.
Yeah. No, she tries to like sleep next to him.
Right. And the devil man
takes her away.
Takes her.
Yeah. Who, I mean, I think we're supposed to assume is her dad, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we were thinking it was Ingvar having the sheep sex, it's really this ram man.
Right.
Is a little bit more acceptable because he's half sheep as well.
Yeah. But also, like, how'd that happen?
Right.
I don't know.
I can draw you a picture.
The mechanics. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. This movie requires a certain,
suspension of belief.
Yeah. Right from the start. You just kind of have to accept things.
I will say though, when I saw Ram Man and realized he was the dad, not Ingvar, I was so relieved, because I thought my psych segment was going to have to do with bestiality, and I just didn't want to go there.
I was also relieved. I was like, somehow this is okay. It wasn't Ingvar.
So Maria comes back and her baby is gone and her husband is dying. And
because she hears the gunshot.
She tries to go to him to save him, but it's his throat and his chest, like he's gone. And so she just holds him and screams.
Oh, her cry was heartbreaking.
And Ada is gone. So, her whole life is ruined in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie.
Okay, but I will say her reaction was she was scared and angry and stuff. But I feel like right at the end, though, we see some almost acceptance and relief immediately.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I think there was a part of her that she was almost like, I've lost it all.
Yeah.
But somehow it's okay. Or I don't know. I feel like there was something right at the end.
Yeah.
The way that she looked at the camera of she didn't look sad or angry. It was just
this is how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Cut scene.
Movie over. Done.
An hour and 45 minutes later. It was, see, here's the thing. I think this movie absolutely could have been under 90 minutes.
Yes.
I think there was a lot of it was so slow. Like, how long did we watch her ride that tractor?
Oh my gosh, right?
Or like the scenes with the mist, which again were beautiful, but it was like, yes. I think I've been staring at white static for 5 seconds at least.
Or like there was one scene that had absolutely nothing to do with anything, but I was curious about it. So it was how they were like on the tractor, and I couldn't tell if they were harvesting or planting potatoes.
Yeah, and that was a long scene.
It was so long. And it did make me curious about how potato farms work, but at the same time, I was like, what is the point of the scene? It has nothing to do with anything.
Right. Like it was distracting. Some of the scenes just took away. I think you could cut so much of this movie that it would be a really good short film.
Yes.
I think there was so much fluff in there that I think it would have been better as a short film. Because did you guys watch the trailer before?
No.
Watching the movie?
I only watched the little reel thing that just showed a couple little things.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I watched the trailer after just because curiosity. I don't know. I was kind of curious like how it was advertised. The trailer made it look like it was a horror movie.
And Absolutely. It is not.
The trailer took only like the spookiest parts and they added very like ominous, dark music to it. So like, I feel like the trailer made it seem like it was going to be scary. And I think the trailer was better than the movie.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. I really think the trailer was missing.
It's such an injustice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is, maybe people will listen to this and they're screaming, because I didn't get it.
We missed it.
I think this is one of those movies
where
we
missed it, tell us.
Yeah. We missed. Honestly, please do. Please do. Because I think it's just one of those that like, it just did not click. Like my initial thought was, I guess I just wasn't smart enough to understand this movie. Like maybe it's good, but I wasn't smart enough for it.
We're pretty smart.
And now I'm like, you know what? Maybe it was just bad.
Yeah. 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 I agree.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. Is this a good time to dive into some psych?
Yeah, let's do it. So psych for this. I'm hoping maybe this can be a little bit more of a discussion.
Oh yeah.
So psych of this is complicated because I feel like we've got some grief and bereavement going on. But they're mostly what my mind went to with this movie is the complex relationship that we have with animals.
Yeah.
So let's talk about anthropomorphism. Because that is, I feel like, the biggest thing that we have going on here. So if you don't know what that means, I couldn't think of the word. But really, that's what happens when we assign human-like traits to something inhuman. And that can be like pets. It can be stuffed animals. More modern times, really, it's like kind of like AI. Or, some people have those robots living in their home that you say her name and ask a question. And my husband gets kind of upset with me because I'm super rude to her. And he's like, why are you so mean to her? And I was like, she's not a human. It doesn't matter. I mean, do I need to like call her names? Probably not.
It's okay. I personify my robot vacuum. So
exactly.
I'm like, oh, did you get stuck in a corner?
We do the same. Ours is named Lil Brother. And so little brother, he's so bad. He just gets stuck all the time. And yeah, we give him human traits.
Well, see, my dog is a human baby. So
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, so it's a common way of perceiving the world, right? Like it's a very common thing that people do. And there's multiple reasons why people do it. One is that we knowledge of things from our own perception, kind of more of a human-centered approach. We've got that. It's easy, it's accessible to us. So we're trying to like branch out and assign our human kind of traits to other things. Another reason is that we want to explain and understand the behavior of things that are not human. I shouldn't say things, beings that are not human. And the third main reason is this desire for social contact and affection, which I think is what's happening in this. Now, are we calling Ada non-human? I kind of feel like, yes, we should, because she wasn't truly human, but her parents were treating her, well, her adopted parents were treating her like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a bit philosophical, but I kind of think this movie was a bit of like a stance against the opposite of anthropomorphism, which is anthropocentrism. And
throwing a lot of big words at us today.
I know, you guys, I'm trying to pare them down, but anthropocentrism is like the it's actually like an ecological theory something, but it's this idea and this perspective that humans have that like we are the center of the world.
Okay.
Like our reality is the most important above all, like, you know, above God or animals or the environment. And like anything around us is basically like a means to our ends. Like it's kind of like the narcissistic personality disorder of like society.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I kind of feel like this movie was like a stance against that a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that anthropocentrism, it can lead to, which I did not know this was a word, speciesism.
Ew.
So, you know, we've got like other isms.
Yeah.
Speciesism is assigning different values or rights to beings based on their species membership.
Interesting.
Which I think we see a lot of in this movie, because they really treat the lambs like less than human until Ada becomes to be. And then they're having to like figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they kind of like anthropomorphize her. They like assign these human traits to her even more than she has, so that she can be like their baby.
Oh,
totally.
Yeah.
So let's see. I guess the issue with anthropomorphizing psychologically, philosophically, is sometimes you're gonna like assign your own traits and characteristics onto like an animal, which they're not. Like animals are not humans. And I feel like that's kind of the problem with that happened in this movie, is Ada was not fully human, but they're putting her in a crib and they're dressing her in clothes and they're totally ignoring her lamb side.
Yes.
Like Ingvar gets really mad because he's like, oh, you sheepy baby. And he's trying to like feed her grass. And like at first I also thought like, oh, Peter's being a dick. Like he's treating her like a sheep, but she was a sheep though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I guess I was showing a bit of speciesism, because I was thinking like, how dare he treat her like a sheep? But she was a sheep.
But she was a sheep.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, and she had it was a sheep head, so she couldn't talk.
Right.
And I think that was, something that I think the way that they tried to show it was like there were a few scenes where she looks at her reflection, right, in the water, in a mirror. I think they do a mirror like a couple times. And that's kind of the only suggestion we get of what's going through her mind. Like when they're doing the flower crown and when they're doing bath time, it's like, well, maybe she's happy,
right?
But we don't really know, right? So they're in a way, right, they're like, oh, she's ours and we're raising her as a human. We're going to raise her like this. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So I know that's like a little bit philosophy instead of psychology, but it goes into like where people's heads are at and kind of like
I like that. I think that's really interesting. I think it's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So the other thing that I went to was really just kind of the grief. And we've talked about grief before. So I won't get too much into that because we've already talked about all the stages of them. One thing I was thinking is there's something in the DSM called complex bereavement. And at first I was like, oh, is that maybe what's going on with them? Because I feel like in order to go from just being sad about the loss of your family members to like raising a sheep as your own baby, that seems a little complex.
Yeah.
But really that's not quite right. Like complex bereavement is more just like it's above and beyond. And saying normal grief is a terrible thing to say because grief is different for everyone.
Yeah.
And it lasts a short time, a long time, comes in waves. It's all normal.
Right.
So it's not really that. But I did look into a little bit about some kind of rules you should follow if you are adopting a baby after experiencing grief. Because I kind of feel like that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
They sort of
in their mind, that's what they did.
Exactly.
Yeah. They sort of stole her. And the long and short of it is like, you know, everyone building their family is going to happen in a different way. None of it's easy. None of it is, you know, the right way to do it. But there are a few things that you really should remember if you're going to, you know, have a baby or adopt a baby after a loss. That I feel like this couple violated those suggestions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One is you really need to keep in mind, like adopting should be about providing a home for a child, not about providing a child for your home.
So like maybe don't, like if you lost a child, like maybe don't give them the same name like immediately.
Right.
Put them in all their old clothes.
Exactly. Raise them as nothing but human when they are different. Like it's not about you getting your baby, it's about you and the baby having a relationship and a life together. Like so I feel like they kind of didn't do that. And then also just like, you know, the trauma from, you know, a child in your life can also trigger your own trauma. Which, you know, Auda's been through a trauma and like realizing she's not with other members of her own species.
Right.
And who knows what happened to her mom. Like, you know, it's all because we've talked about bonding and attachment theory before. So I feel like it was probably pretty traumatic for her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of went about it like in a messed up way.
Yeah, definitely.
But maybe again, because they kind of were like putting human traits onto this non-human thing. Like they weren't really seeing the full picture. Like, hey, maybe we should not just assume this being wants to be human.
Yeah. They're definitely being selfish.
Yeah.
With the whole thing. And again, I wish that they would have gone into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
In the movie. I really wish they would have just dived in like just a little bit more into the characters.
Right. Agreed.
Because we do get like a small scene where Ingvar, I think right after they, you know, bring Ada into the home, like he goes and he cries in the tractor, you know, where it kind of takes him a second, like he's processing like something's going on, right? There are a lot of emotions, big emotions. He cries in the tractor. And like that, I feel like that's kind of it. And then it's just, they're a big happy family.
Yeah. Like I kind of wish they would have showed like a bit of their history or a bit of like them wrestling with this idea of adopting Ada a little bit more.
Yes.
Like that could have been really good.
Yeah.
I agree.
Again, there was just no discussion. This is just happening. And, you know, I know that there are movies where you just have to suspend disbelief, but, you know, most humans wouldn't react that way.
No.
Right.
No.
You know,
I mean, at this point, I will adopt a half lamb, half human baby. No questions asked. We'll do it. No discussion.
We'll put adorable sweaters on it.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Okay, then the last psych I have to talk about today is biophilia. So I'm just all about the big words today.
Yeah. We're gonna have a dictionary for this episode.
Yeah, we do. So biophilia is defined as the innate human instinct to connect with nature and other living beings. AKA bonding with animals.
Because
whether Otto was a human or a sheep, really, we do see a lot of animal bonding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie. So let's just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you bond with an animal, like the love and the strong connection you have with an animal, it really is a protective factor for humans.
Yeah.
And science and studies prove this to be true. So it's not just like, oh, like this is my emotional support dog or my emotional support goldfish. Like really the bond that you have, does it like give you resiliency? It gives humans resiliency. And it's this mutually beneficial and like complicated relationship. But the science behind it has a lot to do with oxytocin, and just the human animal interaction. So when humans and animals have this strong bond, it releases higher levels of oxytocin, which is similar to what happens when people have babies.
Interesting.
Or when you have sex. So like you have this bond with like another being in some sort of way, and you get this oxytocin, and it can have certain psychological effects like reduced stress and anxiety, enhanced human health. You get that oxytocin when you make eye contact with another human or animal. But that's part of it, but mostly it's actually through like the tactile interactions, like when you pet a dog or cat or human.
I love to pet humans.
Just walk around.
So like eye contact is big, but like that touch is a huge thing. Which I think like kind of explains why people were having such a rough time, like when COVID first was happening, because like people that are alone or didn't have a pet, it's like they don't get to make actual eye contact with people because it's just through a screen, and like there's no touch, and that's huge for those like needed chemicals to make you feel happy.
I just had a flashback to that concert where Brianna.
One of my finer moments.
Oh, it was beautiful. You have to explain it now.
I honestly, I don't really remember why.
I don't know
why we were interacting with this person. I think we were being okay.
She told us to be quiet.
That's what it was. Okay.
It was Iron and Wine that we were at, who was disappointing.
It was,
best.
It was fine. It was fine.
It could have been that we were really drunk.
Yeah, we were also
we were a little drunk, and we were being a little loud, which I will argue when you're at a concert. I don't know if you can be too loud, but
and it was an outdoor concert.
It was fine. Yes, it was outdoor. Everyone was being loud. It's fine. But this person
it maybe wasn't the vibes. So yeah.
She turned around. I think she just told us like we were being too loud. I think
she was like, could you focus on the concert or something?
And Brianna.
So I just pet her face. Like
her
hair. Yeah.
Her hair. I just caressed the side of her face. I don't know why.
It completely diffused the situation.
She was okay with it. There was a positive reaction.
There was a positive reaction. One of the weirder things I've done in my life, but it paid off. And we ended up having a great rest of the concert and everything was fine.
It was.
Yes, and that is because pleasant tactile interactions reduce stress levels.
And it was pleasant tactile.
So if you're ever looking to diffuse a situation,
just pet.
I just kind of stroking each other's faces and hair.
Yeah.
We've had a 100% success rate
so far.
I think the key with it though is that you have to genuinely like have like a loving vibe toward them.
I was very loving.
Don't do it to like appease them or to like play
to mock them. No.
Yeah. No, you do it because you want
must be out of love.
Yeah. To share a loving moment.
Yeah. Yes.
So sorry, I had to interrupt. I got this flashback and I was like, I'm about to start just laughing out of nowhere.
No, it was one of my finer moments.
It's a prime example. It's a really prime example.
Great
example. And actually, it leads to my very last point of that oxytocin effect. It can happen in like one-off interactions with animals. That's what I was researching, animals. So like you see a dog, you pet a dog, you're going to feel good. But the strongest oxytocin is like if you've got this pattern of it, you have a sustained relationship. So like if you have a pet dog or a pet cat or a pet goldfish, whatever you have. So really it's that like sustained relationship leads to like long lasting effects and like positive effects for the human because it's like that like repeated exposure to your oxytocin.
Interesting.
So go get a oh my God, what
a pet?
No, emotional support pet.
Emotional support pet. I've got one.
Support pet. And you'll be good to go.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Psychologically. So yeah, that's the psych for tonight.
I think that was a good breakdown.
I think that was a really good breakdown. I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't call this a horror movie. I wouldn't recommend it as a horror movie.
Absolutely not
at all.
You know why we know that this is not a movie we're going to recommend? Because this is, I think, one of the shortest discussions we've had.
Yes.
And like sometimes if we love or hate a movie, either way, we still recommend it.
And
this one's just a little lackluster.
This is just a movie. Yeah. Yeah. So the movie came out in 2021. I didn't want to do this time in history. I feel like doing modern ones, it's not as fun. You know, we've probably even done it by now. And the movie didn't have a lot of fun facts because it's kind of a smaller movie. I think we've already mentioned all of the ones that I had. So I decided to instead look up fun facts about sheep.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I think that's how we should.
Yes.
That's how we should.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Love.
So, as we saw in the movie, sheep have rectangular pupils.
Yes.
And so they estimate that their field of vision is between 270 and 320 degrees. So they can see like almost a full circle around them.
It's like an owl, right?
Yes. Yeah. So they have a huge range of vision. There are over 1,000 breeds of sheep, which I feel like isn't that, because when I think of a sheep, I feel like there's so many. So
I would have never known that though.
I'm just thinking of one sheep. No, I guess I'm thinking of a farm sheep or a longhorn sheep. That's all.
Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds.
Sheep.
Yeah, including half human. Apparently they have really good memories. Research has shown that they can recognize up to 50 other sheep's faces and remember them for up to 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're even able to recognize human faces.
Wow.
Is what they found. So they're really good memory of faces. Their wool will grow forever. So if you've ever seen photos, of one that will, kind of venture off the farm and go into the wild or something. I think there's one famous sheep, I forget its name, that like ran away and hid in a cave.
Yeah.
And when they found it, it was like just all wool.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps growing. But I didn't know it would just keeps going forever if they don't shave it. One that I thought was fun is some sheep are gay, and not in the way that, because you see it in other animals where different sexes interact, but with the sheep, they're the only animals besides humans that show same-sex preference for life. So it's not that, there's guys and gals and whatever. It's like, no, they keep their preference for their entire life.
It's not just like a love the one you're with. There's only one sex here, so I'll go for that one.
Yeah.
It's like I'm always gonna
like they choose that, or like they have their preference and they keep it for life.
Wow.
I think it was like less than 10% of sheep, but they have seen it, which, no idea. And then my last one is that for some reason, there are a bunch of ties to US presidents. So George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison all raised sheep. They all did it, which I guess makes sense.
I was just like, my mind was instantly going to all had relationships with sheep.
They all...
Oh my gosh. Stop it.
It's not, mean, we were having that conversation.
The rumors start here. Let's see, what was, and James Madison actually wore a coat that was spun like from his own sheep's wool while he was in office. So, really loved his sheep. And Woodrow Wilson actually kept a flock of sheep at the White House during World War I. They did it as a way to basically reduce the cost of cutting grass. So during World War I, there were just a bunch of sheep there.
Nice.
That's a thing now. Like, I mean, I don't know about at the White House, but yeah, people will like buy goat, like flock of goats or whatever to like come and like trim their lawns and fields and stuff. And it, again, mutually beneficial.
Yep.
Yeah. No, they do it here in Portland. There's some famous goats.
Wow.
That, they keep around just to cut the grass.
Maybe interesting. I should get a goat for my grass.
Right. Yeah. They're so fun. Goats are they're like the silliest creatures because they just jump around. They're kind of bullies, because they go and they just jump on things and jump off. And so I don't know. I think goats are so fun. If I ever had a lot of land, I would buy goats.
I really want to do a goat yoga someday.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that just seems so ridiculous.
Yeah. But that's all of my sheep facts.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Well, you did a great job with it.
All right, on that note.
Okay, yeah, wait. How have we not had a Mary Had a Little Lamb joke?
Right?
Yes.
Oh, I know.
I know.
It was right there. It was right there. That's the name of this episode.
Maria had a little lamb.
Maria had a little
lamb. Oh, yeah.
Whose feet were really human. I don't know what you're going to like. No, whose feet had human toes. And everywhere Maria went, her lamb baby also goes. I could make this into a legit.
So we're gonna quickly change this.
No, I want the final draft.
Laura can continue.
No, you can move on.
I will compose it so that you can use it for promoting on Instagram.
Okay,
I'll finish the poem for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you do like a spoken word reading of it as well?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, perfect.
Definitely.
All right. So here on Spooky Sips, we don't give stars. We give sips. I think I have a feeling I know, but let's make it official anyways. Ladies, how many sips are you giving this movie?
I'll start. I don't feel like I hated it as much as the two of you. I wouldn't watch it again. I do think, though, I liked the vibe it gave me until the utter disappointing ending. Like, I feel like if it had a bigger, better, like, release to all the buildup, I would have felt better about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it. I liked looking at the pretty scenes. I liked that I was, like, freaked out and, like, I was making grimacy faces when the thing was born. We couldn't see what it was. And so because of that, I'm going to bump it up to a 2.5. I'm giving it a 2.5. It's not horrible, but I gave Pearl a 2.5, didn't I?
Oh, I don't remember.
Maybe I should go down to a 2. No, I'm sticking with my 2.5.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will give the movie credit in that it was beautiful.
Yes.
Like, the scenes were beautiful. They shot it really well. It was really interesting. I think all of the scenes with the sheep were really cool as well.
Yes.
Like they built a lot of tension, and I liked chapter 1 of the movie. But then that was kind of it for me. So I think for me, it's a 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I am a real stickler for not diagnosing, mismarketing. Yes. Movies. I really hate when you mismarket a movie. And this was not horror. This was not close to horror. It wasn't even scary. So that definitely knocks it down. I wouldn't watch it again, and I don't know if I would recommend it. So I'm giving it a 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was beautiful. I didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they had marketed it different and I knew what I was going into, I would have liked it more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I do almost feel bad because most of the time, the company that makes the trailer for the movie is not even at all relevant to the creators of the movie. It ends up being whatever network or distributor they went with. So I don't know if they had anything to say about it, but I do think this was one of those times where having A24 related to them set them up to fail almost. Because you saw A24, you see the sheep forming into the A24 thing. Like my mind immediately, I was like Midsummer. Like that's the vibe that this is going to give off. And it was a victim of being a part of that family of movies.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Do we know like what critics or audiences have rated this as well? I didn't look it up.
It has shockingly good reviews on
really?
like Rotten Tomatoes. So I think this is one of those movies that critics rate it really high.
Yeah.
But I forget exactly what the like audience score is on Rotten Tomatoes, but it was under 50%.
Yeah.
So I think there's kind of a big split. It is technically, I think, one of the most, or if not the most successful film to come out of Iceland.
Okay.
Because it did get, I think I wrote it down. It grossed $1 million when it came out in the US and Canada. So like pretty good. I think it came out right when James Bond came out. So it had some like stiff competition.
Okay.
I have no idea what the budget was though. I tried to find it and I found one review that said for a low budget, it was pretty good. And like that's it. So I don't know what that $1 million is being compared to.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
But, that one movie that was, the Ya Ya Ding Dong song came out of it. Was that actually an Icelandic movie?
That was not actually Icelandic. There's no way.
That was a great movie.
That was a terrible movie.
What was Eurovision?
Eurovision.
That was a great movie. Just get a little high and watch it. It's great.
Oh, God.
I don't know if it was Icelandic.
So Bran, you said misdiagnose, which made me realize we didn't give our little disclaimer about me.
Oh, just do it now, right?
Before I did my spiel. So if I said anything wrong in my psych segment, just remember it doesn't matter because I'm not a real doctor and they're not real people. Okay.
Especially this time, they're not real people.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them are sheep.
They're not even human. Or are they? Anthropomorphize that.
Okay, so next time on Spooky Sip, we are going to be watching the 2018 French film Climax. If you haven't seen it yet, it is a wild ride. So get watching and get sipping, and we will see you next time on Spooky Sips. Okay, bye.
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 Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at SpookySips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.